Hello everyone, welcome to Laratips. In our previous video, we looked into listing of the roles, and in today's video, we'll be looking at creating and editing of the roles. And before starting this video, I would like you to introduce to this whole series sponsor, which is Cloudways. Cloudways is a managed cloud hosting platform which focuses on your business and avoid all the web hosting hassles. Cloudways will take care of the server setup for you, and you can go live in minutes using the Cloudways. You can select any one of these applications like WordPress, Laravel, PHP, etc. and you can host those in any one of these servers like DigitalOcean, AWS, Vultr, Google Cloud or Linode. And also you can scale your server size as you need using the simple and easy user interface. You can use the link below to subscribe to Cloudways, and if you do so, you will get $15 as a credit, and you can use that $15 to set up a base server, and it will last you almost a month, which means that you are getting 1 month free. Now let us work on roles create page. Let us add new button over here. Let me go to this role index over here, and let us add new over here. We already have a button component which comes whenever we install Laravel Bridge. Inside the components, we have this button. So let me just duplicate this, and instead of actions, write button and remove this table from here. And let me just go over here and add that button. And instead of button, we need a link, because whenever we click on that link, it will take us to that edit page. And if we look here inside this button component, then we can only see here button. But let's say if we pass href on that button, then we will use it as a link. So for that, we need to import link from the inertia view 3, and let us pass href as prop, and by default it will be empty string. And let us say here link, and here it will be v if href, and here we'll do href equals to href. And we also want the same classes on this button as well as in the link. So for that, let us say here const classes, and I'll copy all these classes from here and paste it over here. And here will be classes like this, and similarly here also it will be class equals to classes, and here it will be b dash else, like this. Let me format it, and we'll be able to see it like this. Now here in our index page, here we'll pass href, and here we'll pass route admin dot roles dot create, like this. And this route helper method is available to us by using the Ziggy package, as I have already told you in my previous video. This name will already be available because inside this admin route we already have this resourceful route. Now let us go to this controller and let us create a create method, and here we'll return this role create. And now let us create this create.view component. From this index.view, I'll just copy it and duplicate it, and here I'll write create like this, and here I'll just remove it for now. Similarly, we don't need this actions table components. We need a button component whenever we want to submit a form. Then here we'll say add role here and here both. This thing will show up in the tab over here, and this thing will show over here. Now inside this table, let us create a form, and let us remove this action because we will control everything from JavaScript like this. And this button, let us keep it inside this form. We will not pass any href over here because it will not be a link. And here we will have like this button, and we'll call here save like this. For now it will be like this. Let me save it, and here I am already running this npm run watch over here, okay, in this server. Now if I come here and refresh the page, then we can see this, but we are not seeing any text over here. So I'll go here in the button, and here I'll do slot like this. We need this slot over here and here both. Now if I come here and again just refresh, and again it is not showing because let me go here in the index. Oh yeah, we haven't written anything over here, so it is not showing. And button, and we'll say here add new like this, and come here and refresh again. Then we will be able to see this button over here, and here we'll say class empty4, let's say magenta 4. Then we can see a little bit margin over here. And after we click on this add new, then it will take us to this create page. You can see here add role and add role over here. This is the create view file, and in the roles table we only have name. So let me just show you that over here. This roles table, here we have only name. This guard name will be automatically inserted whenever we save a role in the database, which will be by default web. So we only have to create a input field with the name, and later on we'll see how to add permissions as well. So let me go here in this create over here, and let us grab the code from our authentication login form. So that will be inside this login. From here, let me just copy the code from here and paste that over here like this. And this bridge label and bridge input, and also I think we have error, this input error as well. And let me import these bridge files as well. So I'll go here, these two, and import that over here. And let me also import this input error from this input error like this, and here I'll add that component over here, input error like this. And if we look here inside this input error, then we have to pass this message, and message will be message. And as you can see here, I have just written here form.email, which is coming from the login. So here we'll write name. I'll just write it something a little bit later, and here it will be, we don't need for. So for this we'll write name, we don't need ID, and type will be text, and required and autofocus will be there, and autocomplete, let us say name, or we don't need this one as well. And this form is from the Inertia itself. Let me show you that here in the login, and it is coming from this use form, Inertia view 3. If I just write here like this, use form, and let me copy this thing from here and write it over here like this. Let me just keep this defined props here because we will need it a little bit later. And here I'll just write name like this. This use form will have some handy functionality whenever we use this use form. Okay, now we can get this error. Let's say we submit a random role and we have some validation in our Laravel end. Then Inertia will automatically redirect us back to the same create page with some errors, and we can easily get that error which is coming from the server using this form.errors.name. And we don't need any other field over here, so we'll just keep it as it is. Let me save it and come here and refresh the page. Then we'll see this name and this save. And let me just wrap this button inside a div and give it a class empty4. And we can see a small margin between this name and save. Okay, now whenever we submit this form, we need to submit it to the backend. So for that also, let us just check here in this login, and here we have this @submit.prevent equals to submit. Let us just add it. Whenever we do this .prevent, then it will prevent the default form submission and call this submit method, which is over here. Let me copy this and let me just go over here and paste it over here, and I'll remove this one because we will not need this. And instead of form.post admin.login, we'll say admin.roles.create like this. The parameters will be automatically passed because inside this form we have this name property, so we don't have to pass any parameters over here. And sorry, here it will not be create, it will be store. Now let us go to this roles controller and create store method. Here we need to validate the data. So let us create a request, php artisan make request admin / role request, and this will be inside the admin namespace. I'll go here in the roles request, and here will be name, and it will be required, and it will be string with a maximum character of 255, and here it will be true. Now we'll go here and I will say here role request. Now here role, and this will be passive permission models role, and we'll say role create request validated. And when we do this roles validated, then we'll only get the params that are validated over here. Let's say a user passed random data from the client side, then we'll not receive that. So our application will be safe from mass assignment. Now here I'll say return redirect route admin.roles.index with success. We'll just return a flash message which will say this role created successfully, like this. And let me just do here dd like this 1 2 3. Let's see whether it will come here in this store or not. I'll just refresh here and I'll say role 1 and save. Then we can see here 1 2 3, which means that the validation was successful and it reached over here. I'll just remove this, and now if I just go back and again save, then you can see here the role 1, but we don't see any message. Let's say we wanted to show a message to the user over here that roles created successfully, but it is not showing over here. And also I think we forgot one rule over here. We want our role to be unique. So we'll say here rule this illuminate validation this, and every code will be in the GitHub. You can easily access this code role, and we'll say unique, and the table name will be roles, like this. And now if I again come here and try to create same role, which is role 1, and if I just click on save, then you can see here the name has already been taken, and this error is coming from the server side. It is not from the client side. We haven't done anything in the client side, and everything is handled by our this use form, where we get this property called errors in the form and the name of this whatever we use over here in the v mode. Okay, now whenever we submit, we want to show a flash message. For that we need to look into this shared data section here in the inertia. This shared data section, we have to create something like this. So for that we'll go here in the inertia handle inertia requests, this middleware, and here I'll just say flash, and let's say success and request session success, like this, because we have passed here success, like this. So we'll say so here success. For now we'll only look into success, but later on if we encounter any error or we want to show some error message or some failure message, then we'll add that over here. And I'm writing here flash because this is a flash message. It will only be flashed into the session once. Now in order to show this message, let us create a component. Let us say alert component. So let me go here and here, and let me go inside the components over here, and let me say here alert.view, like this, and let us just import from view like this, and we'll say here const message equals to ref. You can see here it is imported here over now, and here I'll just say use page, like this, and this use page is imported over here. You can see here, and we have to do it like this method. And whenever we do this like this, then we can easily access everything that is in the page. If I just show you over here, not here but over here in this view, then inside this create we have this thing, and whatever the props that is passed to this page or any attributes, we can easily access using that use page method, and it is itself coming from the inertia. But we only want to get the props, because whenever we submit this, then if we go here in this handle inertia request, then this data will be passed as props to that component. So now we'll just go here and we'll say use page dot props dot value dot flash, and we'll say here dot success, and if there is no any success in the session, then it will just show here null. And now here in the template, I'll just write some code like this, and if there is a message, then only we'll show this message with the background as green color. And after some seconds, we want this message to be hidden, so I'll just write here on mounted set timeout. Let's say after 5 seconds we want this to be hidden, so I'll just say message dot value equals to empty like this, and we are wrapping this thing inside a ref because we want this thing to be reactive. If we don't make it reactive and just set the value as empty over here, then this thing will always be visible or invisible according to this message. It will not be reactive. After wrapping it inside the ref, we are making it reactive, so it will respond whenever we change the value. By default, if there is nothing, then it will always be false and it will not show this message. So let us go here inside this create, and this create is inside this bridge authenticated layout, and we'll add that inside this authenticated layout, because if we do so, then we should not add that alert in any other pages. So let me go here inside this authenticated layout, and here let me add that alert like this, and let me import that over here like this. Let me save it, and let me just refresh the page over here. Now let me just say here role 2 and hit on save, then we can see this role created successfully, because let me just show you fast over here, the flash message role created successfully over here. And there is also a alert component over here, and you can see here the message is empty over here because we are showing or hiding the message depending on this internal state of that alert component. So we are now successfully able to add a new role. Now let us go ahead and check the edit. Let us go here inside this index, and let me just remove this inside this action, and let me just go inside this action, and there is this, where is it, edit link. We have to pass this, so I'll just say here edit link, and here I'll say route, and here admin.roles.edit, and here will be id, and it will be item.id. Now let us go to role controller, and here I'll just copy this thing and paste it over here, and I'll just say here edit role like this, and inside here I'll just say here role and new role resource. We are using the same role resource that we have used over here, and here also we'll say here edit will be true. We need to know whether this is either edit or create, and here let us pass edit equals to false. Now let me go here in this create, and here define props will have this edit. It will be a boolean, and by default the value will be false. And also, what did we pass over here? Role. So role will be an object, and by default it will be an empty object like this. Now in the create page it will be empty, but in case of edit it must have the value of the role. So here let me go here and import empty from view, because whenever I try to just import anything by just writing over here, it will just import a random thing, so I always have to do it like this. Now here I'll just say on mounted. Now you can see here it is added over here, but if I don't write it like that, then random thing will be added over here. Okay, so on mounted, if there is an edit page, then we have to assign this name with the past role name. So here I'll just say const props, all these things will be assigned to this props. So here I'll just say if props.edit, then we'll say here form.name will be props.role.name, and also here in the submit we'll say here props.edit, then we'll have here form.put and route admin dot roles dot update, and we have to pass here id will be props dot role dot id like this, and here we'll have like this. So if this is the edit page, then we'll just do update, otherwise we'll do store. Also, if it is an edit page, we'll just assign the name from this role. So I think everything is good. So let me just go over here and just refresh the page. And now if I just click on this, then we are in this roles, but we are not seeing anything over here. And let me just check over here like this, and in the create, oh yeah, so we are getting this data over here. Okay, and whenever we try to access this role, we don't want this data to be attached to it. So for that, we have to go here in the API resource, and if you just look here in this data wrapping, okay, in this here we have this data wrapping. So here in this eloquent resource documentation, then we have to add this thing in our app service provider. So as a app service provider, then I'll just paste that code over here and import this JSON resource, which is this. And now if I come here and refresh the page, then I'll be able to see this role too, because inside this form we have this role 2 over here, which is coming from this role. And also we are editing this role, so we'll just write here edit that role. Okay, so here inside this role, sorry, here in this over here, then we'll just say here instead of add, I think we need to pass this title from the controller itself, because if we do so, then we don't have to edit here in the template. So here inside this, I'll just write here title edit role, and here also I have to pass title create role. And now if I go here, then I have to accept that as a prop. So here I'll say title, and it will be a string. Now here I have to just pass here title like this. I think I'll also write here title, because both will be the same thing. Now if I come here and reload, then we can see here edit role, and if I just go back and click on add new, then we'll see here create role. I think we have to write here add role instead of create like this. And if I just refresh, then we'll see that add role. Let me go back and just click on edit, then we'll see here edit role with the same name. And I think we can add save over here. We don't need to change it to the update. Now let us create our update method in here roles. So not in this, but roles controller. Let me just write the update method over here, and it will be like this. Here will be the same roles request, and the role will be over here and updated with the validated parameters, and will redirect to the index page with success, and will say role updated successfully. And now here if I just try to save it, then we will see here the name has already been taken, because we have added this unique roles over here. But we don't want this to be applied whenever we try to update the same thing. Okay, so for that we have to just write here ignore model and this role over here, because the route name is role, so we have to write it like this. And now if I just come here and refresh the page and click on save, then you can see here role updated successfully with the same name. But let's say we want to update it as role 3, then I'll just save it. Then you can see here role 2 is updated to role 3. And there is also a simple hack that we can do using the form object. So let me just go here in the create, and in the button, let's say disabled equals to form dot processing. So whenever we are submitting this form, the button will be disabled. I'll just refresh the page over here, and in the network I'll just do it to this just slow 3G and role 4, and if I just click here, then this thing is disabled. Okay, we are getting this error call to a member function get key name on null, and oh, we are getting this in the roles request. Okay, over here let me just go here and let me check into this ignore model. Okay, we are just calling this get key name on this thing, whatever we have passed over here. But whenever we are creating, then we will get null over here and it will try to call this on a null. So for that, let me just say here model equals to this route role, and instead of ignore model, I think we can just say here ignore, and in this ignore we can pass here model id or null like this. Now if I just come here and refresh the page, and let me also go here in the create and let me just change it to saving whenever this form is processing. Form dot processing, it will be saving, otherwise it will just be save like this. And I think this one is processing. Just let me check here. Okay, let me just go over here forms and let me say form dot like this, and let me just go over here. Okay, yeah, this is the processing. So let me just go over here and refresh the page and let me say role 4 like this and save. Then just for a split second you saw that saving over here. This is just for a better UX. And whenever we just do here disabled, then the user will not be able to submit twice. For example, sometimes accidentally a user can click on that submit button multiple times, then it will submit the form multiple times. We don't want that to be happen because it can create multiple records in our database. So using this disabled, we can prevent that as well. And I think the video is becoming very long, so I'll stop over here, and we have already completed this creating and editing of the roles, and in the next video we'll be looking into deleting of the roles. And in that video we'll be creating a model component as well, because we need to show a confirmation model whenever we click on this delete button. So that's it for this video guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.